Okay, this is the calculus part of the um, rescue plan, and let's just start. You always get a question. In fact, they always ask this question to find the first derivative. And when they use the word first principles, you need to write down this formula. F prime of x, that means the derivative, is equal to the limit as h approaches 0 of f of x plus h minus f of x over h. They give you a function. Now, what you should do, instead of writing down all this limit as h approaches 0, you'll get a mark if you just take x plus h, write down f of x plus h equals, now take x plus h and put it in for x. And now all you have to do is square h plus h. Now it's always h squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And that's doing FOIL on it, but memorize this. You can just write it down fast to make sure. That's how you square a binomial. Then you multiply it by the number in front, and there you have f of x plus h. Now that's a mark just on its own. Now what you have to do is take that f of x plus h and subtract f of x, which is the 2x squared minus 1. And then you do that. What happens is the 2x squared and the minus 1, the first term and the last term, always disappear because you go 2x squared minus 2x squared. And minus 1 minus minus 1, that's plus 1. And now you've got what f of x plus h minus f of x equals. So when you look at the formula, you can replace the top with this 4xh plus 2h squared. And that's what you do. You substitute that part right into the top, and now you write down f prime of x, the derivative, is equal to the limit as h approaches 0. You've got x plus h plus 2h squared, and you always have h in the bottom. Then you always do this. You factor out h. H times 4x, h times 2h is the 2h squared. The h's always cancel, and you get to your last step where you're writing limit, 4x plus 2h. Now what happens is, this is the change in x. It's a change in y over the change in x. It's a gradient. But we're going to find a gradient when h approaches 0. So all you do, if this becomes nothing, then 2 times nothing is nothing. If it gets infinitely close to nothing, that's what the derivative becomes. Just the 4x, you drop the 2h. That's the last step. And there you've done it. You've got your 5 marks, and it's always the same doing it. This system happens every single exam. And that's all there is to it. What does this tell you? This formula tells you the rate of change at any value x. When it equals 0, it's a turning point, or a max or min. Okay. Now, let's see here. I think, oh yeah, let's just do the first part here. There's one rule we have for finding the derivative. And if you have a function, this is all you do, and you do the same thing every time. You take the exponent on the variable and you multiply it by the number that's in front. That's why it's n times a. And then you subtract 1 from the exponent. So that's how it works for every single time. So you go 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 minus 1 goes to 1. This one, you go 1. There's a 1 there. Times minus 5 is minus 5. But when you subtract 1, it becomes x to the 0. Just remember, if you're taking the derivative of negative 5x or 15x or 11x, you just drop the x and put the number down. But if you have anything else, a number or a constant of any kind, any other letter that's not x, the derivative is 0. So that's the main thing. Now, there's 2 other tricks you can have. It has to be in this form. If you see an x squared in the bottom, you have to make it x with a minus 2 in the top. Then if you do that, you can apply the rule. But you have to do that first, and they give you a mark. What do? You go negative 2 times 4, and then you go minus 2, and you minus 1. Exactly the same thing. So you get negative 8, x to the minus 3. Then sometimes they give you a surd, and all you do is, if it's like the cubed root of x squared, the cubed root part, the 3 goes in the bottom, and the 2 goes on the top. The exponent goes on the top. That's your first step. Then you take this exponent, multiply by what's in front. 2 over 3 times 3 is actually 2. There should be a 2 there. So I'm going to put a 2 right there, so you can see it. There should be a 2 there. That's 2, because 2 over 3 times 3 is 2. And it's 2x to the minus 1/3. Okay, that's the first part. See, we're following the same rule all the way through. Okay,